All right. And we are live. Looks like it's showtime. Hope y'all good looking sexy people are doing well out in Happy Land tonight. This is your host for the hour, Grand Wizard of the Esoteric Order of Dagon, friend and well-wisher, Frank Monday. Make sure you guys hit the likes and subscribe, share out the video, help me on the drive to 1,000. You can help me reach 1,000 subs by sharing out the video, and make sure you hit the like on there and leave a comment as well. That really helps out, as they say. Be sure to check me out on www.buymeacoffee.com/Frank Monday. Pull a something in the tip jar. That helps keep the lead in the pencil. My nose to the grindstone, working hard for y'all out here at Happy Land. Welcome, Wizard, Warrior, Wanderer, Wayfarer, and Wildcat alike, wherever you are, whoever you are, and whenever you may be receiving this transmission. Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning to all of you, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone listening. I'm broadcasting to you today from Twilight Zone Old Peking, deep within the central kingdom of the Celestial Dragon, far behind the bamboo firewall. And let's go ahead and launch into the show. We'll start off with a prayer. Holy art thou, Lord of the universe, the vast and the mighty one, creator of heaven and earth, maker of all things visible and invisible, master of both the light and the darkness, he who was, is, and always shall be. We adore thee and we invoke thee. Send us one of your divine spiritual agents, our holy guardian angels, to protect and guide us through the innumerable snares of the earthly sphere, and a cleansing wind to disperse all negativity and endless human opinion. Teach us those secret things which we must know for the completion of the great work and the glory of thine ineffable name, Adonai. So it is confirmed. So mote it be. Amen. All right, good magic. Hail unto thee who art Ra in thy rising, even unto thee who art Ra in thy strength, who travellest over the heavens at the uprising of the sun. Tahuti standeth in his splendor at the prow, and Rahor abideth at the helm. Hail unto thee from the abodes of the night. All right, good magic. Remember, O neophyte, goodness alone power, silence is strength. Will regaineth omnipotence, and love lieth at the foundation. When you arise in the morning, choose positivity. Express the highest divine energy in your life. Be grateful for all that you have. Know that you are capable of achieving great things, and embrace the challenges as opportunities for growth. With that mindset, just take small actions towards your goals every day. A little here, a little there, just keep on pushing, man. Never forget, dear Wayfarer, ask and you shall receive, seek and ye shall find, knock and it will be opened unto you. And you got to ask the question sometimes, right? Why are we even bothering with it? Why care? The prophet of the Aeon said, no new horror can be more terrible than the daily torture of the commonplace. All right, so let's break free from trance states and work towards a greater awakening. Today we're going to be talking about psionics, planetary alignment, the sun in Aquarius, and tarot readings. So if you'd like a tarot reading, just chime in and let me know. You can put something there in the comment box and let me know all about it. And I will draw a tarot card for you. That's my pleasure to do. That's why I'm here. I'm here for you. And I hope all of you are here for me as well. So recently in the news, there has been a so-called whistleblower that came forward and said that they were involved in some UFO recovery news. And it always makes you wonder what's going on with all of that, right? Is there any truth to it? And if so, what can be gleaned, what can be gained, what can be distilled or derived from any said types of things? What's the upshot? What does it matter to you? Who cares if there's floating discs shooting around out there in the sky? Does that even jive with your reality? So the individual involved made some claims, right, as people are wont to do. And one UFO researcher, his name is Richard Dolan. You guys might know him. He does disclosure. I forget what he's calling his most recent endeavor to bring forward greater revelations in the area of the UFO phenomena. Basically just, disclosure. And so he was interviewing this individual, and the individual was also on News Nation, and he made some comments about a part of that which they called psionics. So first we got to look at the word psionics. Psi, P-S-I, comes from 1950s sci-fi author who coined the term. The first usage of psionics is from a 1950s sci-fi author, and he said that the psi is, of course, the ESP, like psychic abilities, telekinesis, telepathy, clairaudio, this kind of thing, right? And then connected that with electronics. So essentially, in the paradigm that this author had created, it's the mental control of technology. So having technology that can be receptive to mental emanations. So what they're saying these days is in connection with the Slee Stack. If you guys remember The Land of the Lost, it was a TV show back in the 1970s, and in it, some like a dad with some of his kids was on a whitewater rafting tour, and they got lost on the river, and they got pulled into like a alternate dimension, the Land of the Lost, right? And so when they got there were dinosaurs, and then there were these like alien creatures who had control of these crystal pyramidions, where they could influence the weather. They could create rain and earthquakes and different types of natural phenomenon with these crystal pyramidions, and they would touch the crystals, move the crystals around and stuff. So they were called Slee Stacks. And there's been a guy who came out recently, or not recently, maybe over the last couple of decades, who's also in the UFO UAP field, and he is a living Slee Stack. He looks just like a Slee Stack. You guys probably know who I'm talking about, so I will just call him Dr. Slee Stack from here on out. So Dr. Slee Stack, he said that if you wanted to contact aliens and interact with them, that you could summon UFOs or flying discs using a protocol called CE5, Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind. And basically, you go out on a hill or an open area that faces the sky, where you have a clear view of the sky. You should be somewhat removed from civilization, and in that you should be in an area that's a little more wild and natural. And then you get a group of people that are focused and intent on contacting UFOs, or at least, having UFO experience, and you go into a meditative state, and then you focus on different shapes in your mind, like a diamond, and then you summon the UFOs to appear in the sky. And this happens routinely. So people do this. It's a very easy technique. Just settle the mind, focus on an internal shape, or like a sigil. Very simple sigil, though, just a diamond of a various color. You can shift the colors and stuff. But basically just the idea of having the intention of these UFOs appearing, they will appear. So this so-called whistleblower says that the psionic field is being researched by the government, maybe the CIA, maybe other types of special forces, and they've had ongoing programs like Project Stargate, and men who stare at goats type of things going on, where they've proven basically that this is a legitimate science, I guess you would call it. Yeah, sure. Like, what previously would be known as a pseudoscience, but yeah, like a science of kinds where you can summon contact with non-human intelligence. And what are your thoughts on that? What do you think about the idea of summoning non-human intelligence? Should you go about it? Should you endeavor to do something like this, right? What are your thoughts? Because people who have done it in the past and have had some other than human contact with entities of this sort usually suffer some sort of negative repercussions from the encounters. Like they have the side effects of like radiation exposure. And so if you're at physical risk to your health, would it be advisable to do something like this? My guess would be no. I would think you know, if you wanted to go about like a CE5 type encounter, you should probably have some magical training, and you might want to insulate yourself in a magic circle and call upon the forces of God and his angels to protect you in such an operation. And you might want to have a well-grounded understanding of the occult before you go about it. And personally, I wouldn't recommend it. You know, I've done it a few times and it does work, but my suggestion would be that, yeah, unless you're engaged in spiritual cultivation already, that you should probably tend to avoid that type of thing, because you need to be clear in what you're going about and why you're doing it. Okay, so leave your comments down below. Let me know what you think, and if you want to chat about such a topic, feel free to join the show. Updates from the channel, of course. I am your Grand Wizard of the Esoteric Order of Dagon, friend and well-wisher, Frank Monday, coming to you from Twilight Zone, Old Peking. Make sure you guys hit the like buttons and subscribe. If it's your first time, don't let it be your last time. Check back often for updates and so on and so forth. Make sure to check me out on buymeacoffee.com/Frank Monday. With no further ado, the next one here is planetary alignment. So over the last couple of days, it is the 20th of January, 2025, here in Old Peking. But many of you are still on the 19th, if you're in the Western world. And the sun is about to enter Aquarius at 3 p.m. on January 19th, depending on where you are in the world. But the planets have aligned, right? So we've got all of the primary planets and are lining up in the sky, and some people are saying this is indicative of different things, and that you may want to be wary of transformations in your energetic levels and different things going on like that. So at the most fundamental level, I believe we see this kind of alignment. We might feel some energetic shifts, some gravitational shifts, because this is a big one. It's called a Grand Planetary Parade, which means I think it's 7 out of the major wandering stars that we're able to observe are lining up. So we've got Mercury, Venus, Mars, Saturn, and the other ones, Jupiter, I believe, as well, and Neptune, are all lining up in a cosmic sword in the sky. So this is certainly bound to affect some things here on Earth. I mean, when we look into astronomy and astrology, it's one of the oldest, longest running sciences of humankind. And so if that's a fact and it's survival of the fittest, then why would this study still be with us if there wasn't something to it? So what did the ancients say about these types of planetary alignments? And again, if you'd like to discuss the idea, if you have some knowledge, if you're an astrologer or an astronomer, and you'd like to chime in, if you've ever been privy to one of these planetary parades before, then what were the effects? Were there any tangible effects on you? And did you document any historical effects in the world, right? So they've been tracking these things for thousands of years, right? All the way back to the ancient Sumerians and Babylonians, the ancient Shang Chinese. All of them were interested in both astronomy and astrology. They would study the stars, and they felt that the planetary arrangement, the star arrangements in the sky, would definitely influence things on Earth. They would see a great meteor, for example, or a comet streak through the sky, and they often attributed ill portents to this, that there would be times of famine, starvation, and war, and great loss. Now, I'm not exactly sure what goes on with planetary alignments, but typically when something like this happens, that you can look for various earth changes. So earthquakes, huge storms, that somehow the celestial dome above us and its movement of nightlights definitely has some indicative nature about what goes on the surface of the billiard ball table, as it were. All right. So what are your thoughts on that? Are you interested in the planetary alignment that's occurring right now? I believe it's running through this month and into next month. So you've got a few weeks where you can go out and you can see all the major wandering stars that are within our dome, that they're forming basically a straight line across the sky. And so I went out a couple of nights ago and I saw it. And yeah, it's pretty easily apparent right after sundown, wherever you are in the world, you're probably going to be able to see it. You just go out, you look out into the eastern sky about an hour after sunset, and 7, 8 p.m. in the evening. Between those hours, you'll be able to see all of those planets straight lined up across the sky tonight, tomorrow night, next couple of nights. They say are the best times to view it. And if the sky is especially dark, you'll be able to see a Palladian meteor shower as well. So lots of interesting energy going on in the sky. Again, if you're not a trained magician, you might want to avoid going out and staring into the sky for long periods of time, because there are wanderers from the stars and different entities from the stars that can come down and attach themselves to people and cause lunacy and other types of shifts in their fate and destiny. So it's something that you want to be wary of. You should invoke the great dragon of the sky and be wary of that. Be aware. If you're not mindful, if you're not in a stable psychological condition, then it's something to be aware of. All right, finally, we've got Sun moving into Aquarius. Let's find out a little bit more about what's going on with that. So I'm going to share my screen. We've got a traveler out there in the ideas room. It's a person named Shalimar, and Shalimar says one single word. Shalimar says, "Huh?" And Shalimar's little icon picture there is, I believe, like an Indian or Hindu dancer. 3D world flags. Looks kind of like a spurious account, honestly. Someone that would just use a stock photo shot off of the internet is a little bit doubtful to me. So hello there either way, Shalimar. Welcome to the chat. Good to see you out there in Happy Land. So we're moving on to the idea of the sun transiting from Capricorn into Aquarius. If you're an Aquarius out there, or a Capricorn for that matter, happy birthday to you. The moon is currently in Libra, and we're going into a fourth quarter moon. So let me pull up my screen here and show you what I've got prepared for you today. Entire screen. Okay, that should work. Allow it, it says. And then I have to add it to the stage. Does that work? Yeah, that worked all right. Okay, so first up, we're moving into the Chinese Year of the Snake, and that's going to start on the 29th of January. And we'll be experiencing some of the snake's personality and how it influences us, right? Or we're going to look forward to energy that makes us more organizational and how to be discreet and utilize better discernment and intuition. Next up is going to be the sun moving into Aquarius. So we can see that here on our astrological calendar. We've got the sun entering Aquarius at 3 p.m. on the 19th. Today for me is Martin Luther King Day, so that's a good thing. They got the moon in Libra until Tuesday, when it'll start to transit into Scorpio. We're in the third and fourth quarter of the last moon in the year of the dragon. During the last quarter, we've got the disseminating moon, the third quarter, moving into the fourth quarter. So it's a time for sharing information, imparting knowledge, and conveying awareness. And then as we go into that last quarter, it's going to be a time for readjusting or reviewing, and time to reap the rewards and close off your projects and plans. Also a favorable, not typically a favorable time for launching something new. So the keywords there are going to be readjusting, correcting, and elimination. Also collecting, right? Time to reap the rewards of a project or plan that you had going on at that time. I will check to see if folks are in the ideas room saying hello. Like you can see that here. I can add your comment to the screen. And if you do have a question or concern, just let it be known there. Also, as well, I've put the link to the StreamYard here in the chat. So if you're interested in talking about psionics or planetary alignments, the sun in Aquarius, or you'd like to experience a tarot reading, just chime in and let me know. Also, we're going to be looking at the Codex Diabolica, and we'll save that for the end of the show. Let's get back into it over here with the astrology and see what that means for us. Wait, did I do that correctly? No, I didn't. Okay, so I got to push add to the stage, and there it is there. All right, excellent. So all about Aquarius. As the sun transits into Aquarius, we're going to be thinking about the Aquarian energies. It says that quirky Aquarius marches to the beat of their own drum. Our tarot card for Aquarius is the Star. The ruling planet is Uranus. The ruling house is the house of groups and visions. The element is air, and the color is blue. Aquarius, aka the water bearer, is actually an air sign whose dual nature creates a unique intellectual and social individual who cares deeply for community and mankind. While Aquarius prefers ideas over emotions, their stimulating personality earns them fast friends. The worldly water bearer is a progressive spirit whose focus on the greater good. When this rebellious sign isn't satisfied with the way things are, they're experts at garnering the support they need to instigate change. Ruled more by the head than the heart, Aquarius's brilliant ideas and visionary plans inspire us all to raise the bar in our everyday lives. All right, so that's a little something about Aquarius there. Couple of things about Aquarius that we love are they're brimming with great ideas and fun conversation, and always willing to lend an ear or a helping hand. Although Aquariuses are friendly, they have an aloof and detached quality that prevents others from getting too close. A lack of intimacy in relationships can frustrate friends and lovers. During the time of the Sun in Aquarius, think about the eternal quest for knowledge and those notions that range from brilliant to insane. Learn to separate the two, and you'll meet less opposition when presenting your ideas. So don't go to extremes, right? Try to balance things. It's interesting that Aquarius is a dual sign like Pisces and Gemini, Cancer as well. Here's some celebrities that were Aquariuses, and that may tell you a little something about the Aquarian energy. But you got to think about their ascendant, their rising sign, and their moon sign as well, because even though your sun is in Aquarius, you will typically present yourself to the world, they say, as your ascendant. So let's have a little deeper look at Aquarius and the star card. The star replenishes our hope and optimism as the tarot card of Aquarius. The star card brings inspiring, healing, and idealistic energies that help us envision the perfect world we want to create. Aquarius's focus on the future and drive to help others reach their heart's desires are strongly supported by the uplifting star card. Wonderful. All right, with the star card as a focus of this section, I'm going to take you into a little bit of a path working with the star card. And so if you're inclined to study magic and the tarot, then you might want to enjoy the next 20-minute segment of tonight's show. With that said, I'm going to have to get you into a little bit of a meditative trance. And before we do that, I want to reiterate the channel points that I am your Grand Wizard of the Esoteric Order of Dagon, self-appointed, of course. I am also your friend and well-wisher, Frank Monday, and I would like to remind you to hit the like button, please, and subscribe to the channel, right? Share out a video with a friend. Get people on board with the Frank Monday experience. Also, check me out on buymeacoffee.com/Frank Monday. Heaven and earth, divine spirits, and ancient masters, your son has a request. Please lend your energy and guidance for the next segment of the show, which is a pathworking in the tarot card, the Star. Please find a relaxing and safe place to chill for a little while. Like I said, 15 to 20 minutes as we prepare to go through the Star card. You might like to close your eyes and take a deep breath. Hold it for 3, 2, 1, and relax. Think of the imagery of the Star card and know that the star represents faith, hope, and promise. It symbolizes the guidance that comes from our highest form of intuition. Imagine going deep within the self. You're in the darkness of the Fathomless Cavern, and you're going down the onyx staircase to the astral temple, and you're going to explore the secret arcana of the tarot. The star represents the guidance that comes from our highest form of intuition. This card appears when an idea or direction is being revealed to us. The star shows us where divine truth can be found and where new ideas will bear fruit. This wisdom prepares you for the next leg of your journey. Rarely will a card in the tarot tell you so definitively that a clear direction exists and that you know the way. But the star is one such card. Absorb that information a little bit, let it digest in the mind. Take another deep breath. Hold for 3, 2, 1, and relax. Command yourself to relax. Deeper, greater relaxation. From the head all the way down to the feet, and from the feet all the way up the body, calves, knees, thighs. Hip and pelvis, relax. The lower dantian, breathe deeply. Natural rhythmic breathing. Feel the energy pulsing at the center dantian and relax. Let deep flowing relaxation enter into all your limbs, your 4 limbs, generating warmth and comfort. And continue to breathe. As you close your eyes and you're within the astral temple, imagine the North Star above you and realize that the North Star is also an affirmation of faith and hope. The famous poet Tagore once wrote, "Faith is the bird who feels the light and sings when the dawn is still dark." Similarly, the 17th card of the Major Arcana represents the promise of a new day. The star asks you to lay down your burden and lift your eyes to the horizon. If you look closely, you can see the gentle promise of light. The star comforts us in the dark of night, providing direction in times of uncertainty and hope in moments of despair. The star is an outward projection of the light that exists within all of us, guiding our footsteps and illuminating the path ahead. A bright beacon in an inky dark sky. The star shows us the way. Throughout the ages, travelers have used the guidance of the North Star, and sailors ignore the stars at their own peril. All those who are lost at sea will find hope when the clouds part, revealing the way home. And isn't that what we're all here doing anyways? Just walking each other home to the timeless homeland. To that golden shore beyond the turbulent, mundane world of everyday life. All right, well, that's a little bit of an exploration of the star. For the next segment of the show, guys, we're going to be looking at the Codex Diabolical. So sit back and enjoy, and we shall discuss the finer points of this codex.
Speculation as the Codex Diabolus. Known alternately as the Devil's Codex or the Accursed Compendium, this enigmatic tome is both a testament to humanity's ceaseless curiosity and its folly in delving into realms beyond mortal comprehension. Bound in cracked leather said to be of inhuman origin, and written in a script that defies linguistic classification, the Codex Diabolus is a grim relic of an age when the old gods held sway over the earth.
Well, that didn't work great, did it? Let's see here. Not exactly sure why it dropped me there, but it dropped everything. it disconnected and it dropped my audio, dropped my video, and yeah, it just kind of buggered out on me. Let's see if I can restart it. The Codex Diabolical.
Throughout the annals of forbidden knowledge, few texts have inspired as much fear and speculation as the Codex Diabolus. Known alternately as the Devil's Codex or the Accursed Compendium, this enigmatic tome is both a testament to humanity's ceaseless curiosity and its folly in delving into realms beyond mortal comprehension. Bound in cracked leather said to be of inhuman origin, and written in a script that defies linguistic classification, the Codex Diabolus is a grim relic of an age when the old gods held sway over the earth. The exact origins of the Codex Diabolus remain shrouded in mystery. Scholars agree that the book's earliest known appearance was during the waning years of the Roman Empire, where it surfaced in the possession of a renegade sect of Mithraic cultists. These devotees, referred to in fragmentary texts as the Children of the Black Flame, claimed that the book was a gift from an emissary of Nyarlathotep, the Crawling Chaos, to aid them in communing with the ancient powers beneath the earth. Roman authorities eradicated the cult, but the book vanished, only to resurface centuries later in medieval Europe. During the Middle Ages, the Codex Diabolus became a whispered legend among alchemists, sorcerers, and inquisitors. It is said to have passed through the hands of Gilles de Rais, Johannes Trithemius, and even Dr. John Dee, each of whom left tantalizing yet incomplete notes about its content. The book's reputation as a font of dark knowledge earned it the ire of the Church. Pope Innocent VIII's papal bull, Summis Desiderantes Affectibus, explicitly references a blasphemous codex that corrupts the soul, thought by many to be the Codex Diabolus. The most infamous period in the book's history came during the 17th century, when it was reportedly in the possession of Adrien de Rochefort, a French occultist and former monk who penned the equally heretical Codex of Eternal Night. De Rochefort claimed to have translated portions of the Codex Diabolus, though his notes were later seized and burned by the Inquisition. Survivors of the raid reported strange occurrences, books bursting into flame, shadowy figures glimpsed in corners, and the inexplicable sound of whispers echoing through the monastery. The Codex Diabolus is divided into 13 chapters, each dealing with a different aspect of forbidden knowledge. The text itself is written in an unknown script resembling a fusion of cuneiform and hieroglyphics, interspersed with diagrams, sigils, and illustrations that defy natural geometry.
All right. I'm not exactly sure why my internet keeps clipping out. Maybe it's got something to do with me playing that video. Not sure. Maybe they don't want me to present the Codex Diabolical. It's alright, let's try again.
Throughout the annals of forbidden knowledge, few texts have inspired as much fear and speculation as the Codex Diabolus. Known alternately as the Devil's Codex or the Accursed Compendium, this enigmatic tome is both a testament to humanity's ceaseless curiosity and its folly in delving into realms beyond mortal comprehension. Bound in cracked leather said to be of inhuman origin, and written in a script that defies linguistic classification, the Codex Diabolus is a grim relic of an age when the old gods held sway over the earth. The exact origins of the Codex Diabolus remain shrouded in mystery. Scholars agree that the book's earliest known appearance was during the waning years of the Roman Empire, where it surfaced in the possession of a renegade sect of Mithraic cultists. These devotees, referred to in fragmentary texts as the Children of the Black Flame, claimed that the book was a gift from an emissary of Nyarlathotep, the Crawling Chaos, to aid them in communing with the ancient powers beneath the earth.
Okay, so we could see there that they say it was a gift from Nyarlathotep, the Crawling Chaos. And so people these days that are interested in the practice of psionics and CE5 or contacting alien beings, non-human intelligences, this could be something we look into, right? Can we get presented with a Codex Diabolicus? What exactly did they call it again? Let's find out.
Roman authorities eradicated the cult, but the book vanished, only to resurface centuries later in medieval Europe. During the Middle Ages, the Codex Diabolus became a whispered legend among alchemists, sorcerers, and inquisitors.
Codex Diabolus.
It is said to have passed through the hands of Gilles de Rais, Johannes Trithemius, and even Dr. John Dee, each of whom left tantalizing yet incomplete notes about its content. The book's reputation as a font of dark knowledge earned it the ire of the Church. Pope Innocent VIII's papal bull, Summis Desiderantes Affectibus, explicitly references a blasphemous codex that corrupts the soul, thought by many to be the Codex Diabolus.
So that's one thing to be wary of, right? They say that it corrupts the soul. But you have to think about that those prohibitions are sometimes put in place just to discourage those who would look at things of this nature in a superficial manner.
The most infamous period in the book's history came during the 17th century, when it was reportedly in the possession of Adrien de Rochefort, a French occultist and former monk who penned the equally heretical Codex of Eternal Night. De Rochefort claimed to have translated portions of the Codex Diabolus, though his notes were later seized and burned by the Inquisition. Survivors of the raid reported strange occurrences, books bursting into flame, shadowy figures glimpsed in corners, and the inexplicable sound of whispers echoing through the monastery.
You've got to wonder, though, what's the upshot? Can the Codex reveal hidden treasure? Can it secure a love binding? Can it elevate one to a position of prestige and honor?
The Codex Diabolus is divided into 13 chapters, each dealing with a different aspect of forbidden knowledge. The text itself is written in an unknown script resembling a fusion of cuneiform and hieroglyphics, interspersed with diagrams, sigils, and illustrations that defy natural geometry. Chapter 1: Primordial Origins.
All right, so here's where we're going to get into the meat of the thing, right? Chapter 1, Primordial Origins. Let's find out a little bit about where this Codex Diabolical comes from.
This chapter recounts the genesis of the cosmos, not as a divine creation, but as a chaotic unraveling orchestrated by the Old Ones. It names entities such as Azathoth, the blind idiot god, and Shub-Niggurath, the black goat of the woods, describing them as architects of reality, whose designs are beyond mortal comprehension. The text suggests that the known universe is but a fragment of a far greater and more terrifying whole. Chapter 2.
So, Chapter 1, some of the origins of the Elder Gods, the Creator Gods, right? Azathoth, Shub-Niggurath, the Black Goat of the Woods with 1,000 young. Possibly how to petition them and make sacrifices to them so that you can secure greater power. Let's find out what Chapter 2 is all about.
The Watchers. The Watchers are described as emissaries of the Old Ones, created to act as intermediaries between these eldritch powers and the mortal world. Their forms are described as fluid and shifting, a nightmare amalgamation of human and inhuman features. The text details their descent to Earth, bearing forbidden knowledge that accelerated humanity's rise, but at the cost of subjugation to their will. Specific Watchers are named, such as Unkai, the architect of famine, who taught ancient civilizations the secret of controlled drought to punish the defiant. Another, Gulrath, is described as the shadow that devours words, a being said to erase knowledge from human minds to maintain the Old One's dominion. Locations tied to their worship are detailed: mountain shrines in the Andes, underground cities in the Middle East, and temple ruins in Southeast Asia.
So, the Watchers could be those angelic and demoniacal forces that John Dee was in contact with. Also, the Archons of the Gnostics, the powers and principalities of the Hebrew, the Gaoshen of the Chinese.
The chapter suggests these beings still influence certain regions, where their ancient altars remain active. Chapter 3: The Tongue of the Abyss. This chapter expands on the linguistic legacy of the Old Ones, describing a language composed of vibrations, glyphs, and sounds that can bend reality.
All right, so the Tongue of Flame, the Tongue of the Abyss, rather. This is the magical voice, the weirding way, the use of incantations, vibrations to change reality. You have to look a little more into this. The non-Euclidean geometrical shapes and spaces where those who dwell beyond walk in between our realms and how to contact them. Let's learn some more.
The symbols within the Codex Diabolus are said to be part of this dialect, and readers are warned that even attempting to speak or transcribe them can have unintended consequences. Anecdotes include the tale of a 14th century monk who, upon uttering a single phrase, turned to stone while his monastery was consumed by a spontaneous black fire. The chapter provides diagrams of sigils and their corresponding effects, including one that opens the mind to receive dreams from the old ones.
There you go, right there. You're going to want to get that sigil so that you can open your mind to receive dreams from the old ones. Is it not said that Cthulhu lies dead, dreaming in his sunken underwater city at Relie, awaiting for the stars to align, right? Right now, the wandering stars are aligning, so Cthulhu is risen, and we better heed his warning and be attentive to the message coming to us from Dreamland.
The text claims that prolonged exposure to this language erodes the boundaries of individuality, merging the speaker's essence with the cosmic fabric of the old ones, a state described as both euphoric and horrifying. Chapter 4, The Binding Rituals.
Yeah, now here in Chapter 4, we're getting into some real magic, right? Some binding rituals for these forces. So we started with those infernal origins, that crawling chaos, the cosmic chaos that was there before the gods arose, then the elder gods and their creative process, the archons that they spawned, the great watchers at the threshold, and the guardians at the gate, then the tongue of the abyss, the ability to communicate with them and invoke their powers directly. Finally, some rituals. Let's find out what we're going to do here.
The Binding Rituals chapter is a meticulous guide to summoning and imprisoning eldritch entities. It begins with instructions for creating containment sigils, composed of rare materials like powdered meteoric iron and the blood of unblemished mammals. Rituals are illustrated step by step, accompanied by warnings of catastrophic failures. One described failure resulted in the summoner's village disappearing entirely, leaving only a circular depression filled with salt water. The text identifies specific entities and their vulnerabilities. For instance, Alguros, the Whispering Wraith, can be bound using mirrored surfaces arranged in a heptagonal formation, while Karanak, the Ten-Eyed Beast, requires a chant performed at 3 crescendos during a lunar eclipse. A recurring warning echoes through this chapter. The cost of arrogance is eternity.
All right, so in that chapter of the binding rituals, right, you can see that some of them are quite complex and that they're associated directly with certain entities. Now, I would recommend that if you're a natural-born magician, that you have to go through the first step where you receive the sigil of awakening so that you can get direct guidance from Dreamland in ritual bindings. You're not going to want to go out and just CE5 at random and bring forward some non-human intelligences that you're not familiar with and you don't know how to bind properly in order to derive the greatest benefit from those entities. And so in my own practice, I've gone into the deep caverns of Dreamland, the Fathomless Cavern, and then you have to work your way to locations where you can receive instruction and information that you can utilize. So you've got to pass through the Chamber of Echoes, the Labyrinth of Mirrors, and then you have to go up the Ladder of Ascension and stand before the balcony, what do I call it? The ledge of revelation, where angelic forces will come forward and break open seals to grant you that esoteric and arcane knowledge. Otherwise, you're just going about it blindly unless you have a grimoire. And even if you have a grimoire is just a record of people who did the work and then achieved these things and then kept details of those things. That doesn't mean you should use other people's grimoires for trying to do the same kind of magic. You're supposed to go about it through your own great work.
Chapter 5, The Black Pantheon. This chapter serves as a grim catalog of the Old Ones, offering cryptic descriptions and sigils to identify them. Nyarlathotep is given significant attention, described as the most active of the Old Ones, a cunning manipulator who dons countless guises to sow chaos. His sigil is a shifting design that seems to change when observed, and he is referred to as the Crawling Chaos and the Black Pharaoh.
Yeah, again, so recommendation is that you go about your magic through a gradual organic progression and learn the methodology first and foremost, because the names won't work for you, like Nyarlathotep or Astaroth or Shub-Niggurath. These names aren't going to work for you because those were names that were given to others. Thus, it's dead knowledge. You have to be an active participant and receive these things from the spirit realm directly. Otherwise, it's not going to be of use.
Cthulhu is portrayed as the dreamer beneath the waves, and the text suggests that his imprisonment beneath the ocean is a temporary condition. Lesser-known entities, such as Yigolonak and Chognyar Faun, also make an appearance. Each entry is paired with an ominous declaration. The slumber of gods is but the prelude to waking.
Yeah, so that's the situation we find ourselves in now, is that most of the elder gods are slumbering. But now, yesterday, today, and the next day, the planets are aligning. And so those elder gods will awaken and be active and interested in contact with people who have the ability to do so. So it's a good time if you're a magician. If not, then I would warn you not to tread the paths of magic.
Chapter 6, The Star Maps. This chapter features celestial charts that appear to defy earthly astronomy. The constellations are unrecognizable, and some diagrams show stars aligned in spiraling formations around dark voids. These maps are said to correspond to gateways leading to the domains of the Old Ones. Annotations discuss the Maw of Yule, a black star where souls are consumed, and the Eye of Shalmarath, a pulsating nebula believed to be a sentient entity. One map appears to show Earth from an external perspective, surrounded by faint sigils that supposedly indicate the influence of the Old Ones on the planet.
Yeah, so once again, there you go. There are the star maps. These are things that you're going to have to create on your own. Like right now is a key time. You can go out, you can chart the wandering stars. You can use this as a reference point to encode your ritual summonings.
Chapter 7, The Flesh Alchemy. The Flesh Alchemy chapter outlines grotesque experiments aimed at reshaping the human body into vessels for eldritch entities. Recipes for elixirs made from black ichor and diagrams of surgical alterations fill these pages. One such transformation, known as the chrysalis rite, describes encasing a person in resin-like material infused with sigils, after which they emerge as an unrecognizable hybrid of human and Old One. Disturbingly, the text suggests that some modern cases of unexplainable genetic mutations may be remnants of these ancient experiments.
The flesh alchemy section, I would suggest extreme caution. There are processes in magic where you can transform your physical being into something other than human and level up, as it were. The ingestion of pine sap exclusively, like pure water and pine sap, for 200 days will cause you to grow coarse hair on your body, and your canine teeth will elongate, and you'll become more akin to a Sasquatch or a Bigfoot. But then you have to abandon the ordinary world. So if you do undergo some great transformation of your human constitution and character, then realize that you'll have to fade from this dimension and dwell in the spaces between. So definitely something only to consider once you're done with your great work here.
There is also mention of cults continuing these practices in secret, seeking to create perfect vessels for their dark masters. Chapter 8: The Salted Seal. This chapter links the Codex Diabolus to the creation of the Dead Sea. It describes a coalition of ancient sorcerers who enacted a ritual to trap a group of abyssal ones, entities described as serpentine leviathans of unquenchable hunger. The sorcerers used salt as a binding agent, transforming the waters into a toxic barrier that imprisoned the creatures beneath. The Salted King, an avatar of Nyarlathotep, is described as the guardian of this prison.
As you know, as a magician, that salt is a great binding agent. You can use it in your altar space to formulate a magic circle. You can use it around your garden plants that you want to protect to prevent snails from or other slugs from consuming them. Also, it's a good element to add to earth. You know, of course, in excess, you don't want to oversaturate with that type of element, but sodium chloride as well can be used in magic. And there are the three portions of the human being: salt, sulfur, and mercury. So something to be learned here.
His role is both to enforce the seal and to lure the unwary to their doom, ensuring that the abyssal ones remain bound but not forgotten. Chapter 9: The Infernal Engines. This chapter depicts eldritch devices that harness forbidden energies. Blueprints for these constructs include perpetual motion machines and weapons capable of fracturing reality.
This is one of the things we see a lot these days as well with modern technology, is that there are particle accelerators and ion engines, nuclear power. They're utilizing these ancient forms of technology in the modern world, but they use them for the greater enslavement of humanity, whereas in the House of the Worm, there's depicted a guy who builds one to transition to an alternate dimension. Of course, in the Shadow Out of Time, there is a machine built by the professor by one of the immortal perfected race, the great perfected race, to return to its own time. And then there are the silver sleeves that they use in the Silver Key to travel between dimensions. And of course, we've seen this in the old tales of the Russian. They built the cylinder of polished aluminum, I believe, and they would utilize that for time travel. So even very, very simple infernal engines can be built. Small ones to be used on your altar for basic teleportation and slipping through the keyhole, through the looking glass, as it were. And in fact, the ones we have in front of us right now, the one I'm transmitting over this dark mirror, is also a type of infernal machine.
One device, the temporal oscillator, is said to manipulate time, but its use reportedly drives operators to madness. The chapter suggests that some modern technological advancements may have been inspired by fragments of this knowledge, though the implications of such progress are left chillingly ambiguous.
Another thing is that a temporal oscillator, it's also the ability of the human mind to create time dilation, or apotheum, as it is called. And so you can do this on your own. You can slow down and speed up time. You can also reverse back through time with hypnotic regression. You can also go forward in time to have prophecies, prophetic visions. But again, it's something that can lure one into the darkness of madness. So be wary, Wayfarer.
Chapter 10, The Coming Reckoning. This prophetic chapter foresees the inevitable return of the Old Ones. Signs of their awakening include seismic upheavals, unexplained disappearances of stars, and the rise of cults united in a singular purpose. The text warns that human attempts to delay this reckoning will only hasten it. A recurring theme is humanity's hubris in believing it can control these powers.
Again, we're seeing this human hubris playing out right now in the form of AI, and the idea that they'll travel to the stars and possibly put colonies on Mars, right? This is all just human fantasy. It's sci-fi fantasy, and thinking that they can achieve these things. And at the same time, they're directly challenging the elder gods and their authority. And so we've seen throughout history, repeated time and time again, at the Tower of Babel, Sodom and Gomorrah, when you challenge the authority, they do awaken, and there is dire consequences.
The chapter ends with the chilling phrase, "They wait and they hunger." Chapter 11, The Dreaming Mind.
Now, here is a section of the Codex that deals with something of great interest to all of us, because we all have direct access to this, and we have to utilize it every single day, every single night, every time we lay down to sleep. We are engaging the dreaming mind. And if you do it without any training and it's just meandering and wandering, then you will suffer a lot throughout life. So you should learn the basic tools through the Pathways of System magic, how to control the dreaming mind, how to move from the Fathomless Cavern through the Chamber of Echoes, beyond the Labyrinth of Mirrors, up the Ladder of Ascent, and then stand before the Ledge of Revelation. If you can't do these things, then you need to be acquainted with the basic procedure and methodology, and basic mindful meditation, and how to focus on the path working that will get you past the guardian at the threshold. Otherwise, you just continue to wander in darkness.
Exposure to the Codex Diabolus induces not just dreams, but fully immersive experiences that transcend the boundaries of normal perception. These dreams often begin innocuously. Visions of stars in alien formations, or faint whispers in unfamiliar languages. Over time, however, they evolve into vivid, hyper-real encounters with otherworldly landscapes and entities.
Notice the language there. They evolve into hyper-real experiences. They are realer than real. And in fact, they contain far more information and eternal energy than the prime material plane.
The chapter describes recurring dream motifs experienced by those who sought to communicate with the old gods. Among the most common are Cyclopean cities submerged beneath greenish-black oceans.
So he mentions the city of Relie, right? But there's also the Invisible College and the Secret Chiefs. That's one of the best places to go, high up in the Mountains of Madness, to get real arcane knowledge.
Illuminated by unnatural pulsating lights. These cities teem with non-Euclidean geometries, where spatial and temporal laws collapse under the weight of the Old One's influence. Dreamers often encounter Nyarlathotep, who manifests in forms tailored to the individual's subconscious fears or desires. He speaks in riddles, offering insights that linger in the mind like parasitic thoughts, compelling further exploration of the Codex.
And although Nyarlathotep speaks in riddles, you have to be trained in how to reverse these riddles. Oftentimes it's just backward speech or backward encoding of text, and just a simple reversal of numbers or letters can bridge the gap to some extent. Some of it is coded in much higher ciphers, and if you haven't written or studied your own ciphers and made your own alphabet, then most of this will remain unavailable to you. So it's one of the things in the tradition that I have learned and teach, the pathways of magic, that the neophyte will become familiar.
Other entities, such as Shub-Niggurath's formless offspring or spectral beings referred to as the Wailers of the Void, make fleeting, haunting appearances. The chapter suggests that these dreams are not mere hallucinations, but windows into parallel dimensions shaped by the old ones. As these visions grow more vivid, dreamers begin to lose their grip on reality, their consciousness gradually merging with the alien realms they observe. Accounts describe dreamers who wake screaming in languages they have never learned, or who lose all sense of identity, claiming to be emissaries of the old ones. The text concludes ominously. Prolonged exposure to these dreams ensures that the individual becomes a vessel for the Old One's influence, their mind a fractured portal through which these beings can project their will into our world.
Yeah, so that's something you don't want to happen to you. You know, as a magician, you have to break free of all the chains that bind you, whether it be of birth and position, right? Your caste, the astrological influences, you must break free of that, and break free of karma, and break free of the elemental realm, and even break free of the spiritual realm. You have to break free all the chains that bind you so you can have absolute freedom and autonomy and continue as a sui generis being, a being of self-creation.
Chapter 12, The Eternal Prison. The Eternal Prison chapter describes an enigmatic dimension where the Old Ones are said to be confined. This realm, referred to as the Shard of Nagalis, is depicted as a fractured plane of infinite darkness, pierced by radiant chains of light that bind its inhabitants. The text hints that the chains were forged by an ancient race that predates humanity, a species described as the builders of the cosmic forge.
So not only are the old ones bound there, not all of them, some of them receive release, but human souls that don't achieve themselves also get sucked in and bound to this prison realm. And it's not the one we live in now. You're at a median point, an opportunity to escape. But if you don't choose to cultivate, you'll get sealed in like all of the other demons out there who are wandering in darkness. So something to be wary of.
These beings sacrificed themselves to create the prison, their essence becoming the binding force. However, the chapter suggests that the prison is weakening, its foundations eroded by the relentless will of the Old Ones, and the hubris of mortal beings who meddle with forbidden knowledge. Diagrams within the chapter depict the prison's intricate structure, along with sigils said to strengthen or weaken its bindings. One particularly chilling passage reads, "When the final chain shatters, the cosmos will echo with the laughter of liberated gods." Chapter 13, The Final Call. The closing chapter of the Codex Diabolus is both a summation and an invocation, an apex of its dark purpose. It begins with a series of incantations designed to synchronize the reader's consciousness with the vibrations of the Old Ones. The prose becomes increasingly disjointed, as if the writer's grip on reality was unraveling as they transcribed it. The invocations are structured as calls to specific entities, beginning with lesser beings like the Watchers and escalating to the Old Ones themselves. Each incantation is accompanied by symbols and diagrams, including one that resembles a spiral fractal collapsing into a singularity. The text instructs the reader to chant these invocations at precise intervals tied to astronomical phenomena, such as eclipses or alignments of certain stars. The chapter provides a detailed description of the ritual's culmination, known as the Final Call. This involves assembling artifacts described in earlier chapters: a sigil-inscribed dagger, a mirror palace filled with liquid shadows. The ritualist must perform a
Well, there you have it. It looks like the internet cut us free once again and dropped the connection. Not sure how stable the connection is going to be now. Looks like it's returned. Hard to say. There's someone interfering with that last section of the text. The Codex Diabolus. Well, that was the greater presentation of the thing. There are 13 chapters. One's of greater portent to some than others. It's up to you where you want to engage, at what level of study. But I'm going to go ahead and leave it there. That way, those of lesser countenance won't be exposed to the dark secrets within. I'll finish off here with saying, I am your Grand Wizard of the Esoteric Order of Dagon, friend and well-wisher, Frank Monday. Make sure you hit the likes and subscribe if it was your first time. Don't let it be your last time. Check me out at buymeacoffee.com/Frank Monday, and don't be scared to join the show. I put the link here in the chat if you'd like to have a conversation about psionics, the planetary alignment that's awakening Cthulhu, or the transition of the sun into Aquarius. Also tarot readings, all of those available here on the channel. Just let me know. I am here for you, Wayfarer, Wanderer, and Wildcat alike. Wherever you are, whoever you are, whenever you receive this transmission. Like in the 13th chapter, in order to align ourselves with higher divine forces, I will present to you the invocation of total integration. Heaven and earth are the spontaneous manifestations of the subtle, wondrous universal law. As the original oneness expresses itself, gross and subtle energies become distinctly divided. Our bodily caves are brightly illuminated by the mysterious light from the three sources, our three Dantian, bridge points leading to immortality. The powerful spirits of the eight directions conjoin our being with the true origin of life. By the absolute order of the divine Ling Bao in the highest ninth heaven, send the positive energies of Qianluo, Danna, Dunkan, and Taishuan to destroy our spiritual obstacles and debilitate any evil influence. This order is given by the highest sovereignty. It is a jade oracle from the subtle origin. Invoke with strong sincerity to drive away the demons and evils and lengthen your healthy years. The attained spirits respond. The evil demon king, Mo Wang, is chained to stand as our guard and servant. The powerful atmosphere has been generated, dispersing all negativity. The Chi of Tao is everlasting, so it is commanded and confirmed. So mote it be. Amun-Ra. Thank you for tuning in, Wayfarer. I hope you have a wonderful day out there in Happy Land. Keep doing good magic, and until we meet again at Astra Prospera, as we travel to the stars.